Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So I can't believe it's been about 5 days since I was last with y'all. Uh, and I gotta tell you, I mean, it's for me, it's been great. Um, I've been traveling and I've enjoyed it. I won't say exactly where I am here, but when I get a chance to do a better video, because remember, I'm on vacation and this is not only my time, but my wife's time too. But when I finally get to some free time, I'm going to go ahead and tell where I went only to the first and business class subscribers on Buy Me a Coffee. Um, there is, uh, yeah, anyway, I am in the tropics, I will say that. I'm at a latitude in which the sky looks different at night because while you can see the moon, the stars are not the same. Very few of them are in the same. Very few stars are the same, and the ones that are not in the same location. They're not in the same part of the sky you used to seeing them. So that's one thing I do want to point out. Um, so if you're one of those stargazers, or you're one of those astronomically inclined. I did not say astrologically inclined, but if you're one of those that is astronomically inclined, then this is a different view at night. It is breezy. It is sunny, partially cloudy. The temperature's in between the 70s and 80s, and this is pretty much year round. It is not really far from the equator at all. I don't think it's 10 degrees south of the equator. Um, the first language is not English. Um, Additionally, um, I will say that what I've come across has been number one. My wife and I have gone swimming at a beach. We have been in one villa that had a pool, and the pool was too damn cold. It was ridiculous, but its view was excellent, and it was pretty much at the edge of a jungle. It was a lot of green, and there were some homes nearby and things, so you weren't completely isolated, but you had a view of some jungle. You could hear birds, and what I noticed is that the tropics generally sounds a lot like the Gulf Coast. Being here has made me realize how tropical my home stretch, my home turf is for about a little under half of the year. My sinuses have gotten better since I've been here. I'm listening to the sounds of the summertime back home when I'm out in nature. Uh, um, the food here has been pretty good. I'm eating a good bit. I mean, I'm eating very healthy and it's not expensive. I'm eating healthy, and not only that, but I'm getting seafood fairly frequently. With the climate being what it is, warm and humid, I find myself not really craving as many carbs. I tend to crave more water and more cold drinks, but not that many carbs. Um, I tend to so yeah, my diet has gotten healthier. I am losing a bit of weight fairly slowly, but I'm sleeping a lot better. That's a very important thing. I wake up for Fajr and then I go back and I sleep pretty well. My wife has been sleeping pretty well too. So we are not um, struggling to sleep compared to what we have faced when we're in other places. She and I initially were going to go to some place in Europe. Europe is going through a summertime right now, like the Northern Hemisphere is, but I really was itching to go to the tropics, and I think a part of her was too. And as much as she complains about humidity, she's doing well here. She's become a better swimmer already, just in the days since I posted that we're leaving. She's a better swimmer. Um, We're now in another villa, and it's nice. Uh, there is a pool here, and the pool is warmer. Um, the humidity here and the heat, while causing sweat in the beginning, are actually doing some things for our health. And I think it has to do with why people are just less aggressive. When you live with Arabs at their latitude, the Arabian Peninsula, um, they're very hospitable, but by the same token, Arabs are very proud and boastful. And I look at how they can go back and forth between aggression and kindness. And then I look at how the people here don't even go back and forth between them. They're just very kind. They're very polite here. Now they don't necessarily always bring you into their homes. So these folks here are very unintrusive, and they're very unexcited on average. And that is the difference in between how it is that Arabs who are polite and well-meaning can irritate you if you need them to be calm for a minute because you're trying to explain something or you're trying to handle something delicately. Whereas people here would just put you in a position to not have to handle anything delicately. Um, the way they speak in general is just very unintrusive. Uh, we have walked by places, and when I have spoken to them in their language, they've shown great appreciation for my effort. Uh, and so what I found is that also my mental health is improving. I've never been crazy except for same situations in which other people might be if they're just extremely angry and consistently provoked. Anybody might be, but outside of that, I've never been crazy. But here I get to stay calm. And my wife one time said, "Well, why did you raise your voice at me? And I'm your wife." And I said to her, "Well, it was because you raised yours." It was a small thing, but the point I had to make to her was I had to tell her, "You and I have come from the same environments. We raise our voices. I don't, and you don't see the people here raising their voices at us. And so, therefore, what we must do is that uh, we must not raise our voices at other people, but we must also look at how they speak to each other and how they speak to us. And that's how we can talk to people in general. And then save raising our voices for when they raise their voices. People here that just don't raise their voices that much. And the other thing, too, is that people also will assume whatever is the best. When walking yesterday, she and I were walking because Eid al-Adha uh, was last night and today. So what I did was take her on a walk because a particular Arabic restaurant was not far from our current villa. While walking a few blocks, these dogs came behind us, and one of them started barking at us. Now, since I was with my wife, I was on protect mode. So as soon as this dog started barking at us, and it was just right behind us, I turned around and faced it, and the dog stopped. And I let the dog walk off. And then I turned to walk back with my wife. And then it barked again, and this time I leaned down, picked up a rock, and I turned face the dog with the rock in my. I let the dog see me pick up the rock and hold it in my hand. And I said, "Who are you barking at?" And the dog saw me, put its ears down, put its head down, and then looked sideways at me, not directly at me. And so then I backed up calmly, walked, joined my wife again, walking. I dropped a rock. I said, "Yeah, that's what the fuck I fought." That's the only time I've had to be aggressive here. When I left the U.S. for Saudi, I was able to drop a lot of my aggression over time, except in the way I speak, because Arabs in the Gulf, at least, just they think they know stuff they don't know. Then I came here and I've been able to drop even more aggression. And even the dogs here, street dogs, don't want none. So, um, with that being said, that's the only aggression I've had to really show. Everybody else has been very meek and very kind and very helpful when you ask them. So we're eating better, we're sleeping better, and we're communicating better. And this is what I want to tell any BMPT about when you go to live or to visit any one of these nice tropical places where the people are also very polite and they don't enjoy conflict and they don't act like they enjoy it. Most people don't, but they don't even act like they enjoy it. I mean, people here don't even steal. And let me tell you what you do when you go to places like that. You protect them. You protect the environment that gave you refuge, and you protect them. If we, the BMPTs, lead in this, trust me, other tourists, other expats, regardless of the nationalities, and them being of other races, will understand that if they get out of pocket, it's not just the locals that will come out with machetes and show them another side. It will also be them black folk, them black men mostly, that'll come out with the knuckles and the muscles if we got it. You see, here where I am, if somebody steals, the locals will kick that person's behind for stealing. They don't say, well, because the tourists have more than we do, it's okay to steal from them. They don't do that. And so, if we were to say, well, let's see how we can spend in a way that's the fairest to us and to the locals that are selling whatever they're selling, and they see us as looking out for them and for ourselves, then we've contributed to the protection of these environments. If they're going to change, we could be the reason that they did not change for the worse. That's what I want us to think about. I don't need to tell you where I went. You want to subscribe, you know where to go. And then you'll find out. And yes, the first class subscribers will find out before the business class. And that's probably going to be in another 2 days, more than likely, inshallah. Got a few more things to do. But listen, this is important. Think about the environments and how best to contribute to the positivity from which we're going to gain. And these environments will then turn around and have the same to give to us later on. Now, for more details, you'll have to subscribe. But for this is as much as we need to know right now. This is something that did hit me. It did cross my mind. When I see all these tourists coming in from other places, they aren't like us. I haven't seen many tourists here from the continent, but I've seen some African American tourists. I've seen white tourists from everywhere. I've seen Indian tourists. I've seen Chinese, Japanese, and Korean tourists. And I don't always know them until they speak, but I've had one of the guides said that they know. They can tell by what clothes they wear before they speak who they are. And I've looked at some of them, and they walk, some of the Chinese women are walking around and they got these umbrellas because the sun is out, because the effing sun is out. And I look at them and I say, really? Like, I don't care what it is about your culture that prides that white skin. Screw you. Screw your idea. But there are things I can say that are uplifting to the locals. And even if I'm not rich, so I don't have a lot to spend with them and just, boost their economy for years and things like I don't have that. Let me tell you what I got. I know the diplomacy of which we're capable, even though we don't always use it with ourselves. I know the diplomacy of which we're capable, and I utilize it. And if I don't know how to say something in their local language, and there's a lot that I don't, then I use a translator, and I've already downloaded their language so that if I have no internet access, I can still translate between English and their language. And I give compliments. If I have to speak with someone, I give compliments. Because the people here are very polite. I've mistakenly stepped on the road in front of cars because the sidewalks are narrow. And I hear them, don't even get a good look at me, I hear them saying, excuse me, in English. So what did I do? I decided, well, let me look up how to say the word peace. So I looked up the word peace in the local language. When I pass by people and they speak, I nod my head and I say peace. Not because I'm smart, I'm not bragging about myself. I'm telling you that the results have gone a long way. The word seems to have gotten out because just in these few blocks, they've seen my wife and I coming, and they generally are nice to people in general if you engage with them first, but they've seen us coming and they smile. We just checked in yesterday, and they smile. They see me making an effort to use their language with them. And my wife has a hijab on, so they know, okay, all right, this is that couple. And apparently it got around, at least for the next few blocks. People appreciate this. And you bring things to them that people can appreciate. And these are black folks from various places that can do this. For one, you ain't the riffraff that's traveling. I mean, the riffraff that can't travel. You are the ones that travel. But there's one more thing I'm going to say. Right now, there is a problem with the way that our music is representing us. The first time I ever heard that song, "Hands on Knees," was today. I came out of one place where my wife and I were eating, and this coffee stand across the street started playing this song, "Let That Coochie Breathe," "Hands on Knees," and I said, "Oh my God, this is nasty." And when I heard the chorus, "Hands on Knees," and I said, "Oh, I heard about that." They know who makes that music. And when they ask me about it later, I'm going to have to say to them, look, the problem is that the trash that makes that kind of music are not the same as the ones you meet here, but they're our cousins. We know them. They know us. And one of the reasons I ain't going to tell you why I am is because they got enough tourists, and it's not that I don't want you coming unless you going to come and do some dirt. I don't want you doing any dirt here like fornicating because of me. I don't want y'all doing that. But it's also because sometimes I don't want your cousins that are riffraff, that I don't want mine that are riffraff, but they can get a passport to come here. I don't want them doing that. Because Junebug, who can scrape up some money for a ticket and he can get a passport, but other than that, he Criflin with a capital K might wind up over here, overstaying a visitor's visa, not doing what he's supposed to do. Making things difficult for the locals and for himself, doing that. And that's not what we want. Not learning none of the language, loud talking, like that's going to help people who don't know English understand more English. And I've learned too that there's a market here for people to learn it, but they don't have enough for me to cater to them to make enough money. So I'm not going to be focusing on this region. But I will gladly tell you or remind you that what you must do is you must be cognizant of how it is that you should um, examine the environments to which we go, see what's positive, and contribute to those things that are positive. Go in and immediately show gratitude for that which has helped you out. Some of the first sentences you should learn to say are not only thank you, but also, I really appreciate that. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Thank you. If you're part of a couple or part of a family that's traveling like I am. When and see, my wife negotiates prices. She's a negotiator, but she's a tough one. What I've learned is that she doesn't know this, but sometimes I utilize with little bits of the language I'm learning or picking up, or I can get from Google Translate. Sometimes I learn that and I speak to them and I give compliments. And this actually might soften them up for the negotiations a bit later on. She's saving me money, but I also make it a bit easier for her to do the negotiations if I can, if it works at all. And immersions, by the same token, uh, come away with whatever health benefits come from a positive interaction with people. This is also important. We'll talk more in the Jet Black Air Lounge, inshallah, get into more detail. But this, I hope, helps everybody. As always, thank you for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Owl. Assalamu alaikum in black, heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. As always, thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Air, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.